is September 15th. Welcome, everybody. This is crazy. My name is Ed Hoops. I'm the chairman of the Yarmouth Conservation Commission. We'll now convene the September 15th, 2022 meeting of the Yarmouth Conservation Commission. As required by General Law, Chapter 30A, Sections 18 through 25, and pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, the public is able to attend this meeting either in person or via the alternative public access. Members of the public may watch the meeting live on Channel 18 or watch and/or participate in the meeting hosted in Zoom. The meeting notice provides necessary instructions to join the meeting via Zoom. Please note that audio, video, and screen sharing functions will be disabled for all attendees. You may request to participate by using the raise hand function. You have a complete quorum of 7 commissioners. So with that, I will now call the meeting to order. This is again the Yarmouth Conservation Commission meeting for Thursday, September 15th, 2021. The first order of business is a request for determination of applicability for John and Mary Barry, 95 Wilfin Road, Yarmouth, proposed 7-foot addition and a deck extension within land subject to coastal storm flowage.
Good evening. My name is James Quirk, and I represent my sister and brother-in-law who have filed this application. They have recently moved to the Cape full-time and are attempting to just expand the house enough to make it livable for year-round usage. So you've been provided copies of the plans that show that the new area being added is 7 feet by 24 feet. And the basement is just similar to the basement that's already there. The height is exactly matching the height that's in existence. And they are located on a property behind Wolfen Road. And there were several houses on the opposite side of the street of Wolfen Road that are closer to the waterway. So that the only issue I believe that's before you is whether this matter would require a notice of intent. And I would suggest that based on the limited requirements of what's being proposed here, that it should be determined that it's not required, I would hope. And I would be glad to answer any questions, whether my clients will be answer any questions you may have with respect. I know you have copies of the plans, and it's not a substantial addition, as it's just essentially giving space to a living room and a kitchen so they can have a kitchen table.
Can you just spell your last name for me?
Quirk.
All right. Anybody on the commission have any questions?
No.
No? Okay. Brittany, any comments, concerns, questions?
No comments or questions.
Is there anybody in the audience have any comments or questions on this project? Anybody in Zoom who has any comments or questions on this one? If not, could I get a motion for a -3?
So moved.
Or second?
Second, Tom.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Just one. Next order of business, another request for determination of applicability for William and Margot Sweeney, 64 Nantucket Avenue, Yarmouth, proposed 18 by 18-foot addition and remodel of existing sunroom within land subject to coastal storm flowage. And when you're ready to go, just state your name for the record and briefly describe the project.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. My name is Bill Sweeney. My wife and I have moved down here from New Hampshire 3-4 months ago, full-time now, just like the last couple, actually. And this is going to be our forever home. And so we're looking to put an addition on to expand the kitchen and add a TV room. The plan right now is to put 4 concrete footings in the ground and run pressure-treated LVL over it, attaching it to the house, and then running trusses on top of that. We really won't be changing the water table at all, or interfering. We won't be putting a full foundation or anything like that in. Strictly going to keep it above the flood area.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions?
No.
You're all set? Brittany, any comments?
No questions or comments.
Anybody in the audience with this one? Anybody in Zoom? Can't see anything, so I can't tell you. But, all right, if not, would somebody like to make a motion for a -3?
So moved.
Second. Thank you, Tom. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next order of business is another request for determination for Robert Ward 4, sorry, this is Robert Ward 4, David DeLeo, 1 Alder Lane, Yarmouth, proposed renovation of existing 10 by 12 foot deck and deck extension within land subject to coastal storm flowage.
Hi, good evening. I'm Robert Ward of Bayside Building Remodel, representing homeowner David DeLeo.
Can you move the microphone a little closer to you?
Oh, okay, sorry.
Thank you.
The proposed work for Mr. David DeLeo is at Alder Lane in South Yarmouth is to renovate an existing 10 by 12 deck with a enlarged deck extension off the side and along the back of the property with new footings for the deck extension and the existing.
Okay. Is anybody have any questions?
Not for me, no.
No? Brittany,
No questions.
anybody, huh? Anybody in the audience?
Well, I'm just wondering, can we make any stipulation about not having it enclosed eventually?
You can make that stipulation as a special condition.
I'd like to add that as a special condition that it doesn't get enclosed at any point.
Okay. Anything else from anybody?
No.
And you understand that?
Yes, I do, sir.
Okay. All right. And again, I didn't ask if anybody in Zoom. All right. If not, would somebody like to make a motion for a -3?
So moved.
A second. Oh, thank you, Paul. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously.
You made it with a condition, right?
Correct, with the condition.
With the condition, yes, sorry.
Not to be enclosed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys gotta get on the ball.
One signature, sir.
that? Yeah.
Everyone is in a
Good call.
buffer zone, yeah. Or Floodplain, not buffer zones. Yeah, okay.
All right, next order of business is a continued notice of intent for SE 83-2350 Paul Schaefer, Peter M. Fairbanks, 41 Uncle Roberts Road, Yarmouth. Proposed raise and replace a single-family home, swimming pool, patio, fire pit, grading and landscaping, and new septic system within buffer zone to coastal bank and buffer zone to coastal dune.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Eric Tully, representing the owners, and Tom Mulcahy is with me from Mulcahy Design Group. Before we get started, we have a little confession to make. While the survey plans that you have in front of you that were submitted a couple weeks ago are still accurate, and while there have been no material changes to the site plan in terms of house location or setbacks, And while the site work that you requested in terms of flagging the setbacks to the dune has been done, I believe the trees have been flagged. We did discover a very late math error in the coverage table that is included in the landscaping drawings. That error has been corrected. The mitigation has also been corrected. I do have plans here to distribute to you tonight if you're at all interested in seeing them. I know that it is typically your policy to have at least a week, I believe you said, to review these things. But I was hoping that given the fact that, as I mentioned, nothing material has changed other than a math error on the coverage table, that we would be able to proceed tonight. So whether or not you want to move forward or whether or not you want to continue us is entirely up to you. It would be our hope that we would be able to get through this given the nature of the error. But again, it's entirely up to you. So like I said, as you look at the survey plan, nothing has changed. House location, hardscape. It was just a math error in the coverage table that is included in the landscape design drawings. So
Eric, is the general rule of policy has always been that we expect to have a week for it. So
understand.
I'd make a recommendation that we continue.
Okay, yeah, I can live with it, based on the fact that it's a math error and everything else is standing substantially the same. Do you want to go ahead and pass out those are the new plans, or?
I asked that we continue, but if you want to go, if you want to,
I thought you said you wanted to go forward.
No, to continue,
You
go
wanna
forward to
continue?
continue.
I had a couple of other commissioners said
I'm
that.
sorry, okay. I'm sorry, Eric. I misunderstood what Rick was
It's
saying.
nothing directed at you guys, just has been as our general policy for 10 years.
I understand completely.
All right, so we're October 6th.
October 6th
Right.
is the next.
I am not able to attend. I don't know if any of the engineers that are involved in the project are on Zoom.
You got 2 hands up.
Two hands up.
Okay, so let's hear from them. Paul or
Yep,
Asa,
yes.
which, either-
Paul Shea, I can be there for the October 6th meeting.
Unfortunately, I will be out of state. Asa Mintz here. I might be able to call in. I just will not have access to any of my files here, but I can be on the call.
I'm not sure if that's a yes or a no. I can't understand him.
yeah, I cannot hear a word he's saying.
I think he did say that he is going to be away, but he would try his best to make himself available via telephone or Zoom.
I hope it's a little clearer than what he just did now.
Can you hear me all right? I will, it might not be because I'll be up in the Maine woods, so.
That's why you sound like you're into Ken.
So, but it does sound like Paul Shea is able to attend either in person or remote, and he's the engineer, so hopefully he can get you through it.
I have a little doubt. I'm sure we'll be fine.
Okay, are we all good? Don't forget to leave those then for us.
Can I leave these with you now,
Yes,
Brittany?
good, definitely.
Thank you. Put them up here.
All right, so
Okay.
if I could have a motion to
So moved.
continue to October 6th, is there a second?
Second,
All those in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously.
Thank you very much, and I apologize for the mix-up.
No signatures.
No signatures.
Pass it down.
No signatures. Two handers.
All right, next order of business is a notice of intent for SE 83-2351 Clifford Poly, 48 Grandview Drive, Yarmouth. Proposed reconfiguration of float on existing pier, ramp, and float system to provide access to deep water, and installation of 3 new pilings to support reconfigured float within riverfront area, land under ocean, land containing shellfish, and land subject to coastal storm flowage. Okay, there, Karen.
Should have been a ballerina.
We're taking the engineers out here, apparently.
Good
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, my name is Kieran Healy. I'm a land surveyor with the BSC Group, representing the owners of the property, Mr. and Mrs. Polly. We are looking to modify an existing licensed pier and float on Bass River. Currently, the license is for one float that is attached with steel supports, and we're looking to remove that and replace it with two floats that go perpendicular out into the water. One of the reasons for this is the depth of the water. We do have -3 at the outer edge of the floats. We are looking to relocate the existing pilings and replace and add one additional piling. So there are currently two pilings as outhaul pipes or pilings further out than the existing float system. And we're looking to remove both of those and then replace with one piling. We have been to waterways and we have gotten an approval from the waterways department division from waterways anyway last Monday night. Other than that, it's just a straightforward replacement of an existing float with two new floats.
Okay, and just so everybody knows, we did receive EMF comments as well. And let's see, they have just basically one issue that they're referring to. Notice of intent states that new float location will match the current depth requirements for piers of 3 feet mean low water. However, the bathymetry in the project plans does not appear to be recorded relative MLW depth of 0 feet. And the other one, the recommendation is that DMF recommends the use of appropriate containment techniques to prevent siltation in the marine environment, which is normally what we put on anyhow. Do you have any comments on the first part?
The only comment is on the datum. It's required by Chapter 91 that we put it on in AVD 88. So this is basically one department of the state telling a different department of the state that they don't like it, that what's required. We've always felt that Chapter 91 and the license from 91 was the most important. So that's the reason we went in that manner.
Okay.
We tried to put enough notes on the plan to indicate the conversion between the two.
I would tend to agree with that, but we had to ask just for the record. Questions from the board?
Well, it's not a question, it's more of a statement. I did bring this up at the waterways, is the creek coming out. It's not affecting the navigable channel because that's just a wide open thing, but it's creeping out quite a bit from the setback of the other floats by, what's this, like 20, like quite a bit. And I know we're kind of concerned about the way everything goes creeping out. So that's 20, 25 feet. It goes out farther than a line between the two adjacent floats. And that's a bit of a, isn't it 25 or is this a 1 by 20? Yeah. From here. It goes out
An additional.
an additional 25 feet.
Yeah.
From the line from
Correct.
one end of the float to the other. And that just adds to the creep going out. Then you know the next person wants to go out farther and the next person wants to go out farther. So it's just a concern that we've brought up before on things going out farther and farther with additions.
If I could just respond to a
Go
few of those items. This was specifically discussed at the waterways. And one of the reasons that we got the favorable vote from the waterways group was that there were two pilings right now that go out another 20 feet beyond the existing float. And those two, basically the boat goes in between the float and those two pilings. And that those are going to be removed. And you can see them out there in that picture. Those are going to be removed, and the floats will be 10 feet beyond those, not the 25. So that was one thing. The other thing was the depth of the water. This allowed us to get to that deep water. It's the bare minimum that we can go out to get, -3 at that float. So it's not that we're trying to push out any further. We're basically just going to the minimum that the town requires for that depth. So yes, it is further out than what's there right now, but it's really the only way to get the depth that the town requires is to put in this location. So it also meets all of the requirements of the town. You know, that's the biggest thing here, is that it's less than 200 square feet. It's more than 75 feet from the adjacent ones, and it is more than 100 feet from the channel. So
That's true, but most of the float will be under 2 feet or under 3 feet. Most of the float that you're proposing will be under 3 feet depth.
correct, but the engine is generally the most, you know, as we're pulling in there, that prop will be the biggest thing to make sure is up and out. Obviously, it'll be an up and out when the boat is tied off, but getting in and getting out is one of the biggest things. So having that 3 feet at that stern end would be critical. So as I say, all I can say is that this meets the requirements of the town, and, you know, your regulations are tough. To meet them is hard. So
And the one thing we don't have on the waterways at this point is a shellfish constable, because the DMF mentioned it was a shellfish habitat. Did they not on that remark? Yeah.
So,
Just points of concern. However, I have to admit that that lift that they have for those jet skis is pretty ingenious.
which one?
On the dock, the one that they have on the dock.
Oh, this one here, yes.
Yeah. Keeps them out of the water, but
It's not working, rotating.
they have that little dolly there. That's pretty ingenious.
Back to the jet ski.
having some
You don't
tech-
have to show it. You know, I was
having some
just sort of
technical
impressed
issues
by
here
it.
today.
I
There we
was just
go.
sort of impressed by it. I'm like, how do they get those in the water? Oh, yeah, okay.
You're right.
Here we go. You finished it. Any other questions, comments?
Yeah, I may. So I just want to make sure I'm following along on this. I did have a chance to go out and take a look at this. So this is meeting the requirements of the regulations of the town, correct? That's what Karen said, and we agree with that. And it's okay also with the waterway, but Ellie, you're saying that it pushes the deck out.
Well, the
Area
float, it
too
goes
far.
out quite a bit, 25 feet more if you draw a line between the end of both floats.
Yeah, and you referenced also the fact that that might cause other people to want to go out farther. But is going out farther prohibited in any way via the requirements or the regulations of the?
For the channel? No, not necessarily, but I do remember one years ago that they wanted to push the float out, and we did deny because it was going out farther than the other docks.
But the waterways didn't consider that?
I brought it up at there, but waterways only deals with navigable channels, and it does not affect the navigable channel. So, yeah. And it should also reflect on shellfish, but we haven't had a shellfish constable sit at the meetings, so.
And so this also gets the boat out farther into deeper water?
Yes.
Okay, and that's one of the obvious reasons why the owner wants that
That's the
extension,
primary
yeah.
reason.
Yeah, okay. All right, okay, thank you for those clarifications.
Okay. Anybody else? Brittany, any comments?
Regulations as such, they have to remove.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm that
these and
for the
these floats
DMF
have to get removed.
comments, we're fine with the not meeting the depth requirements.
Anybody else?
Sorry, what was said about the depth requirements?
Microphone.
Ed read the DMF comment that it's not meeting the depth requirements. And I'm wondering your opinion about that.
Anybody?
Well, I think Karen explained it because he needed the other datum to do
It's
it.
just conflicting
Yeah,
datums.
yeah.
And
That's my
just to
impression.
clarify, at the bow of the boat, we don't have 3 feet.
Yeah.
We have 3 feet at the end of the boat and the stern end, but we don't have 3 feet at the bow of the boat. But this isn't a very high wave action area, so we would not expect the rocking that you would have
Well,
in other
actually,
areas.
It is, it's a,
Very popular area.
yeah, very popular. It's a speed zone. So you have a lot of the waves and it's also wide open when you have the wind blowing in the right direction. You get quite a bit of a wave action in there. So,
Well, this may or may not be pertinent, but so does the boat back out into the deeper water? Is that
Yes.
how it works?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, we could build this further out and still comply with the regulations. So we thought this was a better solution to have it located in this location where the stern would be meeting the requirements and the bow would not. But we could still meet the requirements and push it out further, which doesn't really help anybody in that manner. But it would still comply with the regulations by going further out.
When you say it's not 3 feet, what is it, the bow?
At the bow end, it would be 2 feet.
So Karen, this isn't currently in our regulations, but would you know if the applicant would consider ensuring that the flotation for these floats is not the blue billets, that it's actually the black solid flotation units that are coming into favor these days? You know, we have a lot of problems with pieces of blue flotation breaking off and being in the river.
If that's a requirement, I'm sure that's, because these have to be constructed new. So it's not such a big deal when
That
they're
was the reason I asked.
constructed new.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would be fine with doing that.
That'd be great. That'd be appreciated because it's a regulation change that we've talked about a little bit that I hope will come in the future, but it would be appreciated for the health of the river.
yeah.
It's not our regulations.
We can't require it, but no, I mean, we can always ask, and if they are, that's certainly appreciated, so.
Now, obviously, I presume the cost is nominal, that it's
Very
not
similar.
huge
Yeah, it's very similar.
before I spend these money.
It'll double the price of the float, that's all. No, I don't know what it is.
It's not significant.
nominal.
No, it is. Thank you.
All right.
Well, if the beginning of the float is under, because I was down there at low tide and there really isn't much water at the beginning of the current float that's there. Is there any way to put float stops on that to keep it from dropping below? Because it was probably a foot, maybe 1.5 feet off the bottom
But it
when
can't
I was there at low tide today.
really tell depth there.
I know it would angle the float at low tide to a certain extent, but it would keep it off the bottom.
It would be difficult. Imagine it like this. You would have your float stops at the inside pilings.
Right.
So because the float stops would be there, it would tilt this too much. Whereas if the tide just came down, it would have less chance of the outer end bottoming into the sand than if you kept it all level on the water, shall we say, as opposed to.
Well, I was looking at the length of the float because it isn't short like this to do that. It was more of a longer, like a ramp, that it wouldn't drop down that far. That's all I was thinking.
I just, in this particular case, if we had additional pilings out there, then float stops would make perfect sense. But because we only have the 2 pilings on the inside, it would create that tilt effect, which would dive the outside edge of the float downward and push it actually possibly under the water because it wouldn't, because the floats would still keep it up. But because of the tilt on the 2 pilings that are there
It
on
might
the inside, that's going to make it.
jam.
The only way to solve that would be to add more pilings.
What's the tidal drop over there from high tide to low tide or whatever?
It's 3 feet. Mean high waters on this plan is 1.8, mean low waters 1.2 on this plan. So 3 feet.
Okay, anybody else? Brittany, all set? Nobody in the audience? Anybody in Zoom? Not there, unless there's further discussion. Would somebody like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the, approve the notice intent as presented.
We'll need the conditions.
What?
We need conditions with this one.
Okay. Oh, the big list of conditions?
A big list.
Do you have one?
I got them. Okay, this just applies to, no need construction period, right? Just, waterfront conditions?
Yeah, so you'll start with generals, the 1 through 7.
Oh, 1 through 7, okay. All right, general 1 through 7.
Oh, you took them.
No, I didn't have it.
No, we got 'em. I also have them here.
Number 25.
You wrote them down already.
Mhm.
You should have done them.
27 and 28.
30.
About number 30. I don't know, it should,
31 through 37.
31 through 37. Okay. And 44 and 45? Okay.
So we have
37.
1 through 7, 27, 28, 31 through 37, and 44 through 45.
30, some
What about 30?
30 also.
Okay.
And your special condition, what do you call that, Rick?
It's a black tub flotation unit as opposed to the blue styrofoam.
Whatever that is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Bishop, would you mind just sending me some details on that if you have it? And I can make sure that I pass that along.
Are you happy with the special condition saying non-styrofoam?
Non-styrofoam,
Okay.
yeah, sure. I think Bassett Marina has a lot of that on hand right now.
On our note, we had 10 by 20 continuous styrofoam or HPPE float systems. Is that what it is? Because that's plastic of some sort.
Yeah, I don't know it by that
Solid,
name.
more solid plastic.
Yeah, solid plastic. Yeah. It's a
That's
black.
what this
solid.
is. So we have it on the plan
Okay, great.
as an option as opposed to a requirement.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye, only for the creep.
Okay, motion carries 6 to 1.
Thank you, Mr. Healy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members. Thank you, Whitney.
Next order of business, another notice of intent for SE 83-2353 Gold Village Waterside LLC, 979 and 681 Route 28 Yarmouth, an after the fact filing for emergency repair under an emergency certification of rock revetment in riverfront area, land under the ocean, coastal bank, buffer to a salt marsh, and within land subject to coastal storm flowage.
Keep your eye on the weather in the tropical areas.
Yeah.
Something changed.
I'll have to take a look.
Anybody representing them today or
I hadn't heard anything.
just signing off on this? Do you have any issues with it, Brittany?
They never showed up to Waterways. It was continued through Waterways too.
Continued through waterways?
Yeah, they didn't sign off on it.
All right.
Oh.
I was over there. Any better?
It doesn't look, it looks absolutely the same to me.
Yeah,
Very
actually, after
similar.
the rain yesterday, I think it's a little bit worse.
And the irrigation is still in place.
Just over the.
Still in place.
I don't know if it's on, but it's still in place.
I haven't noticed it. I haven't been noticing it firing at all, but when I go by in the morning, but all right, so I think we're gonna continue this then. Yes. All right, so do I have a motion to continue this to October 6th, 2022?
So moved.
Although, sorry, second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we'll see him on October the 6th.
What happens if we have the same problem October the 6th and they don't come?
Well, then we may deny it, so. Right, next order of business is a request to amend an order of conditions I can do both of these, right?
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
I need to excuse myself.
All right. Thank you, Rick.
Write that down.
Let the record show Commissioner Bishop has left the meeting at 5:44.
It's 5:40.
By 40 in real life.
5:40
In real life.
in real life.
Got it?
There we go.
Only give me two?
All right, so this is a request to amend an order of conditions. I'm going to open both of these because they're both in the same area. For this SE 83-2203 Kenneth Rogers, 11 North Cove Landing, Yarmouth, proposed driveway restoration within riverfront area and in the buffer zone to a wetland resource area. And also for SE 83-2201 Douglas and Beth Anino, 15 North Cove Landing, Yarmouth, proposed driveway restoration within riverfront area and in the buffer zone to a wetland resource area. I think we have a note here someplace. This is being requested to continue both of these hearings to October 6th, and it's coming from Bob Perry. Do I have a motion to continue both hearings until October 6th?
So move, David.
David, is there a second?
Second. Oh,
Thank you,
beat me,
Tom.
Tom.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. You said we're good on these, right?
Yeah.
No issues. All right, so do I have,
No issues.
okay. So do I have a motion to issue certificates of compliance for SE 83-2162 44 Studley Road, Yarmouth, and for SE 83-2192 44 Studley Road?
So move, David.
Oh,
Pat,
isn't
second.
there an issue with these on Studley Road?
There was an issue in the past.
But it's all fixed. Okay,
We're all good.
Fine now.
Okay, so
just checking.
Sorry, who seconded?
Pat,
Thanks for checking, Ally.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried unanimously.
Numbers when I do minutes. 7-0, this 6-0 when I do
Oh,
this.
okay.
Talking to myself.
That's one. Oh, hold on, I'll give you this whole thing. And we'll do this. Okay, so it's just the one
Just one.
page for both.
One page. And
Have to stay outside.
Next order of business is continued enforcement for 8 Tide Lane in Yarmouth. Do we have the
Yes, someone's on
All right.
Zoom.
on Zoom? Okay, so Brittany, you want to bring us up to speed on this one, and then we'll go over to the homeowner from there.
Sure. An issue of a concrete patio was brought to our attention in June, and there was some correspondence between the homeowner and our office at the time, telling them, letting them know that the concrete patio was unpermitted and needed to be removed, or an NOI needed to be filed. Hasn't been any action since June, so an enforcement order was issued on August 25th, telling them the same thing, that the concrete patio needs to be removed or an NOI filed to get permission for the unpermitted patio. It's in the riverfront area and buffer zone to a coastal bank and flood zone. And there's the patio. And Carrie is here on Zoom.
is that all that
Thank you,
material
Brittany.
part of the,
They do have a permit for a dormer, a second floor dormer. That's been approved.
that's all that material is for the second floor
I
dormer?
would, yeah, I imagine so.
And is that material sitting on wetland? I can't tell.
It's in the buffer zone to the coastal bank.
So all the materials in the, is sitting within the buffer zone.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, and so the enforcement order is asking for the removal of the patio and return to pre-existing conditions or filing the notice of intent by October 31st. Okay. The homeowner in the audience, Jess?
Yes,
Is that
that's
Carrie?
I'm in Zoom.
Okay, Carrie.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner, and to the commission. So thank you for hearing me today. I had been, the patio that was installed, I had engaged a licensed contractor to do work for me, who unfortunately had given me some bad advice around what was required for permitting. So I'm here first to apologize because all of the other work that I've done on the property has been fully permitted and approved by the town. So I think I present a history of trying to do the right thing. In addition to that, since the concrete patio was poured, that was not the final condition that I expected. When I had hired him to do the work, I had picked out pavers that were going to replace the bluestone that was there previously. And so while I chose the materials, I didn't necessarily fully understand how he intended to install it. So it was my choice to reach out to the commission to make sure that was being done so properly. So while I'm subject to an enforcement order here, I just wanted to be clear to the commission that I raised my hand and reached out to the Conservation Commission to make sure that what I was doing was being done properly. So my intent here is to comply. I've since, understanding this, have engaged JB Engineering to do the survey work that'll be needed to provide a notice of intent. I've also engaged Brad Holmes from Environmental Consulting and Restoration to assist me in this matter. I'm certainly not a professional, so I need help and guidance on what to do. I will tell you that I reached out to several firms during this timeframe, and the challenge being that everyone is really backed up and short-staffed. So Down Cape Engineering, for example, who was someone that was highly recommended to me, said that the survey work wouldn't be available for 5 to 6 months. And then following the survey, then the NOI materials could be prepared. So I've been working really hard to find someone who can do this in a timely manner. And the plan is for me to provide you with a notice of intent. JB Engineering has been to the property and they have done previous work, previous surveys for the property. I've asked them to expand the scope of that survey work because in addition to this patio situation, I also have, because I'm on the riverfront, I also have a dock. Since the recent widening of Parker's River, I have lost a piling from the increased river flow, and so that will need to get replaced. So that piling is currently sitting on the riverbank safely and up, and I'm waiting for Lemco Marine to help me figure out what's needed there as well. So I'm hoping that I'm engaging with all the right people and professionals who can help me do this properly. I do need some time. I would like to respectfully ask the commission to let me work with the folks that I've hired to come up with the notice of intent and continue forward once we have a chance to have that presented to the commission.
Okay, so I mean, so if it's your intention to go ahead with a notice of intent filing seeking the permitting, I don't see that why we couldn't extend the deadline. I mean, I'm willing to. I understand that engineering firms are all backed up something terrible, so I would be willing to go ahead and go for December 31st as the new deadline. That seems reasonable.
Is that reasonable? Yeah.
Okay, so then I would recommend that we go ahead and ratify the enforcement order as written with the change of date to December 31st, 2022 for the notice of intent rather than October 31st.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. if it pleases the commission, if I am able to get all of the work done necessary in advance of that, then I would be happy to reach out to the commission to schedule something sooner if it happens that we can get it pulled together more quickly.
Yes, I mean, by all means, if you can get it done earlier and quicker, then file sooner rather than later. Nothing saying you have to wait until December to do it, so. We prefer it actually that way.
Yes, understood. Thank you.
All right. Brittany, anything further?
No, I think that's fine.
Okay, any questions from the commissioners?
None for me, no.
All right, would somebody like to make a motion then to accept the enforcement order as written with the one change of date for notice of intent?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second, Tom.
Thank you, Tom. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously.
Thank you all.
Okay, thank you. All right, and another one is another enforcement case for 41 Andora's Lane, Yarmouth.
So I spoke to the homeowner today. She said there was a family emergency that she was going to try and attend via Zoom, but if not, she would request for it to be continued to October 6th. We have had correspondence and she is completely willing to plant shrubs along her property line to discourage her landscapers from mowing the lawn, which she has complied with for the past 2 years since our original enforcement order against her. She had no intention of mowing the lawn, but as it is mown, she is willing to plant shrubs in
Okay,
response,
so-
but she will present this herself in the next meeting on
All right,
October
and she's
6th.
she's
Because
definitely
she's
not
not,
on.
definitely not here.
All right, so then what I'll do is I'm just going to table this item to October 6th and we'll pick it up then. All right, next order of business is an approval of meeting minutes for September 1st, 2022. Somebody get a chance to take a look at those?
Professor Bernstein, you are up, I guess.
I appreciate being called professor, even though I've not really, but
Oh, I
anyway.
think it is appropriate, sir.
They were fine, I believe, yes.
I concur and I
You
second
agree?
your motion.
Okay.
And you seconded it, okay, is all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously.
I will say that I'll continue to do it until we get a new person, but I may miss a meeting in October that someone will have to do.
Okay.
minutes. But to take
Sounds like a
something,
job for Commissioner Bishop.
take something off
Seeing
your
as how he's
plate
not here.
till we get a new person, but a new person will,
Yeah,
this was a 2-week gig.
got it.
It's been a couple months.
Someone else may
All
need
right,
to
you've
step
been
up.
extended.
problem.
You've been
I know that
extended,
problem.
man.
And I appreciate it.
All right, any other business not reasonably anticipated?
Rick asked me to ask if anybody intending to go to the MCC meeting,
Who, when is that?
October, Saturday,
Yeah, I think it's
that
October
a Zoom?
15th.
no.
Yes, it is Zoom.
No.
It can be
Oh, it
Zoom
can be-
or.
it's hybrid.
Or in person?
Yeah,
I
so
thought it
it's,
said in person.
I didn't see hybrid on there.
Yeah,
And where is it? Is it in Worcester?
what's Fort?
Devon's,
Fort
Mass.
Devens.
Oh, hmm. That's the 15th of October?
18th,
Sure.
17th, yeah, 15th.
Oh, I don't have my phone with.
Not me, I have a family wedding.
I can't go because I'm going to Hawaii on the 18th and I just have too many things to do.
I think Rick said he was going, but he might be the only one.
All right,
It's
well,
hybrid,
He can
That
give
may
us a
be
full
different.
report afterward.
yeah.
I swear, they had definitely said it was hybrid as well, but
I can
maybe
double
not.
check.
Yeah, I don't have my work phone, so I can't check right now.
Yeah, I think so
Okay.
too.
Let me see if it's in here.
If you're not feeling well, you're not passing the germs around, whether it's COVID or
Huh?
not.
I'd like to remind people that the wastewater advisory committee is presenting 4 listening sessions in regard to the phases for the sewering of the town. The first one is this Monday at the Realtors Association in West Yarmouth.
Mhm.
Please check the website for the wastewater people.
I believe it's at 5 o'clock, correct?
5, sir, yes, it is. We can only, yeah, 5, good.
And are is each session have a different focus?
They do. They focus on a particular area. For example, West Yarmouth is Phase 1,
Okay.
along with the sewer all the way down from Hyannis to the Parkers River. And then, of course, there's the Bass River and the Yarmouth Port.
Now, I understood, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that the state is kind of dragging its feet on plans for 28 from Barnstable to Parkers River, and therefore is kind of pushing back dates again, or?
I had not heard that officially, sir, no.
Okay. Oh, I'm
I'm
wrong.
hoping you're right as well.
Hoping I'm wrong that it's
Well,
being pushed.
all right, I hope you're right that your intentions is pure.
Okay.
If
I will do
anyone
that.
has noticed, the light up sign in front of Town Hall now says drought
Yes,
conditions, no
yes.
lawn watering.
It's the only one that I can see in town.
The one at the fire station on Buck Island.
West Yarmouth Fire Station also.
The one by the police station, last I saw, said, don't text and drive.
That's still a good one.
I think it may have changed the schools open, but anyway, I'd like to see it. It's still an issue.
I'm waiting for that light at Station Avenue to activate.
Mm,
Well, it can't be any worse than what's there already, so as one who often has to come through it every morning, so if I'm in a fog and forgetting where I am. Anyhow, any other business? If not, would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second, Tom.
All right, all those in favor?
All right.
Opposed? We stand adjourned at
Number-
5:57.
No